Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Welcome back to the Bold Book of the Day podcast. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. I am your host, and I am so happy to present the award-winning author whose storytelling takes readers from just a rugged coastline of Maine all the way to the sun-drenched Arizona. Please welcome Stacy Lee to the stage.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Stacy, let's start with where it all began, which is the origin story of the Prickly Pen investigation series.
Yes. So the Prickly Pen investigation series is actually my second series. My first series is the Nubble Light series that, like you mentioned, takes place in Maine. Very different than the Prickly Pen investigation series, which I would definitely call bold. Yeah, I mean, I started writing that series to do something different. And in turn, I've had so much fun. We've created this world of characters, and you feel like they're real at this point.
Because you've been writing for so long now, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it my whole life. It's always something that I wanted to do. Straight out of high school, I went to college for teaching. And I did that for 15 years. I taught writing. That was my favorite thing to teach to the younger kids and the older kids. And then during COVID, when everybody was home, that's when I published The 100th Time Around, which is my first novel.
This is off topic. You look amazing. You said you have been a teacher for 15 years. What, did you start teaching at 10?
No. Thank you. Both my parents have very good skin.
Yes, you got good genes. You look amazing. So Operation Super Glue,
Yes.
that book now has won first place in Private Investigators Fiction at the Book Fest. Tell us about
Correct.
that.
Yeah. So it won first place in detective, and even more specifically Private Investigator, which was such an honor because I did take a big, like we were talking about, bold risk by completely switching up the genre that I had been writing. And because of personal reasons, I ended up telling this story. And I didn't know very much about private investigation until I actually collaborated with a friend of mine that I met because I needed a private investigator. So it all just sort of took off because of a personal story, a way that I kind of wanted to cope with some personal things, turning it into fiction. And it's been a blast.
You're telling us that this magical book came from a frightening experience?
Yes. Yet part of it.
Yeah.
It actually stemmed from a few different arenas in my life. We were a friend of mine who is in the movie business, produces. Him and I worked to write a screenplay on The 100th Time Around. And when I pitched that to the producer that he connected me with, the feedback was, this is great, but right now networks aren't looking for stories that are that cookie cutter, Hallmark, traditional. And he gave me some feedback, and I took that feedback and sort of said, okay, what can I do that's bigger? What can I do that's modern? What can I do that's a little bit more diverse? And I came up with an idea. It was like you think big, right? Like a big idea. And I ran with it. And then I said, okay, where am I going to have this book set? And I had gone out to Phoenix, Arizona a couple times to try to help a family member, and experienced things I never thought that I would experience. And it all came together, and I was able to put my negative experience into my new story. And I'm so happy with how it came out.
Wow, because your book also has garnered, a little tribe.
Yes.
How do you feel now knowing that it's helping so many others bring in joy and life and thriller into their life? Because your book, it lives at this intersection of romance and thriller and mystery all at once. So
Hmm.
you're getting three genres that do not always sit comfortably together,
Yes.
and your audience is receiving it well. How does that make you feel?
It, I mean, proud. It makes me feel accomplished because it was a big move on my part to tell these stories that aren't very happy, but twist them in a way where it's funny. Even
Yeah.
it's been this book, these two books in the series. They've been, people say they're romantic comedies, but the content or kidnapping, human trafficking. Like they're not funny
Serious
books.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way I developed the characters and take you through this journey, um, it really I surprised myself. But really, I feel like I'm along for the ride. The stories just sort of go, and I just ride the wave when I'm writing. And sometimes I feel like I can't even take credit for that.
How do you blend those genres together though so comfortably?
I wish I could tell you. It's probably one of the only things I do in my life that that I can't really explain. It just sort of happens. The way
Mm-hmm.
I explain it to people is I play the guitar, and I played the guitar in a church band for a long time, and I was okay. I play the chords, right? You tell me what to play, and I play it. And then you have those people that can just pick up a guitar and play by ear. That's not me. But when I write, I
Yeah.
feel like that's me. Like I can't explain how it happened. It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
And
Now,
trying to like when I'm writing,
mm-hmm.
I think just getting it all out. Um, I find that I limit myself when early on in the writing process I start to think, oh my, that might not work. That might not work. It really comes down to having really big ideas and trusting the process enough to know that you can clean it up later.
Yeah. Tell us more about your writing process when you were, you know, first getting the idea, because it is not just, it's a series. So when you're first
Mhm.
getting the idea, are you trying to make sure that it follows the past books and the places? Because I believe that one place you're in Arizona, but then another place you're on some coast somewhere.
Right, right. So my first series, the Nubalite series, that was independently published. And each of those stories stand alone. So my
Mm-hmm.
process for writing them was a little bit different. I was learning a lot when I
Yeah.
wrote those books, and I can see the growth when I read them, and that's really fun too. Um, but the Prickly Pen Investigation series, this is my first series I've written with a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So when I built the proposal for the first time, I needed to lay out all three books. So I sat down and came up with the storylines chapter by chapter for all three. So that was extremely different for me.
Do
Uh,
you
yeah.
do you think that it was capturing all three storylines at once that got you in the door for the traditional publishers?
Yes, because my publisher, Speaking Volumes, they're looking for authors who can guarantee them at least a 3-book series.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Because I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you shouldn't go to a publisher with having in mind that it's going to be a series. You should, have a standalone book and then
Mhm.
let them tell you that, okay,
Oh.
we're going to need, but I guess this is not the case for you
I mean,
because
yeah, my agent sent out my proposal for Operation Superglue, and we didn't get any bites,
okay.
which is very common. It's very, very difficult to get a publisher. But I do think, yes, I think you're right. I think because I was able to, she had a connection with the publisher, Kurt, and she said, if we can't get you any bites on this, I'm going to reach out to Kurt and I'm going to present him with the 3-book series. And because of her ongoing working relationship with him, I was given a chance.
Excellent. Walk us through the process of acquiring an agent, because that is really where it starts when you want to traditionally publish, right?
Yeah. When I was finished writing the Noble Light series, those 5 books, it was a 5-book series. I had already done a lot of research on my own. I did a lot of research on my own. I did a ton of networking, which is key. I think even more importantly than finding an agent, I would say to anybody who's writing and wants to be an author, it's really the networking that
Yeah.
will help you get your foot in the door. And by the time I found my agent, I already had friends in the movie business, and
Yeah.
I had already met with producers. So I had a lot of skin in the game already. 3 of the 5 Noble Light books were Amazon bestsellers. So I did some investing, and that's a big part of this too. It's a big
Yeah.
part of this industry is you have to put money forward. And I did a lot of investing in the right people. I played around, trial and error. Do I have somebody help me with my social media? Do I not? These are things that you learn as you go. By the time I connected with my agent through networking, they were able to see I already had the right amount of followers. That was huge for them.
Oh, wow.
Yep, they want to see the social media followers. They want to see the book sales.
Yeah.
They want to see that even though I have a publisher, I still have my own editor.
Yeah.
And before I submit my manuscript to my publisher, I'm responsible for having that manuscript edited. I'm still responsible for doing my own promotion. So it's definitely great to have my agent, and I don't know where I would be without her and Kurt and speaking volumes, because when I met my agent and met Kurt, that's when I was kind of on the spot, needed to write the plot for the book. So really, they helped create this world too. But it's different. It's similar and it's different, right? Like everything has pros and cons, but really one of the best parts about this career has been meeting and networking with new people.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because we have a lot of listeners who they want to write a book, but they also don't want to do the investing. They want to find a traditional publisher that's going to take them from 0 to 100. And that's kind of like a fantasy. You just said you had to invest heavily in yourself.
Yeah.
And one of the first things she did, you self-published your first 2 books, right?
My first 5.
First 5. And that means for the listener that she had to take her dream all the way to reality with her own funds.
Yes.
But it was worth it because you also hit bestseller 5 times.
Yes.
Congratulations. That's amazing, Stacy.
Thank you. It's putting yourself out there professionally, right?
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there personally and putting yourself out there financially. I've connected with authors and I think, oh, you're on this best-selling list. That's my dream. And they say, this is how much I put forward. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You got to have some skin in the game.
Yes, you have to have some skin in the game, and it has to be your passion. You can't go into this business trying to make money.
Yeah.
Some people hit that level where but for me, it's more meeting the readers. I love doing my book signings. I love hearing my readers talk about the stories. Like when we just talk about my characters like they're real, it makes it all worth it. And I do, I have another job. I work for my parents at their estate planning law firm, and I do their marketing. So
Oh,
that
so you're into marketing.
hmm
Okay,
yes, I didn't go to school for it, but I've learned a ton.
so
Yeah.
again, you do not have to have traditional education. If you've listened to this podcast before, it's something that I really stress. You don't have to have formal education to learn something and then learn that and put that into others. You can teach others because you've learned it. You've had the lived experience, so you've learned it. So thank you for adding that, because a marketer is you're going to need that skill for when you publish your book. Now, after you get an agent, what's the next step? You kind of hinted on it before, but just to clarify for the
It's
listeners.
collaborating with the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hard. It was very hard for me because I didn't realize how independent I had become, especially in my work.
Mm-hmm.
So to have somebody else have an opinion about what the cover should look like, it was hard. It was hard at first, and I don't think I was my best self.
I
But
do that. I'm not making any changes.
it's just like, wait, that's what you see? Like, how is that what you see? But they were great. They were great. It really all comes down to communication.
Yes.
Um, I learned that instead of just kind of rambling about what I wanted the cover to look like, I needed to submit a clear document that stated how I saw the character. I just sort of expected everybody could be in my mind with me. But it's been great. They after I submit my manuscripts, we start working on the cover, and then the book goes through so many rounds of editing, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
feedback. When I wrote my second book, I got some interesting feedback, and I deleted a scene. It was, I think, a little too heated.
Okay.
I think I took it a little too far because I was overcompensating, and that was a little embarrassing, right? Like I'm on
Mm-hmm.
the phone in the car, my teenagers are in the back, and I'm being told that the sex scene was too much. So that was hard, but I adjusted. So I think it's all about the ebbs and flows and the adjusting and not taking things personally. I've developed a pretty thick skin through all this,
Mm.
and I don't think I would change a thing. I think it's all been for a reason.
What's the age group for your book?
Yeah. So I have readers as young as 16,
Mm.
and I have readers older than 80. So
So it's
the
really
next,
young adults you're writing
so
for.
no, it's funny because in my second book, the back cover talks about the main character who is a young adult writer. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times there's been some confusion that I'm a young adult writer. But I don't really write for a certain age group. On Amazon, and when you're put in certain categories, it's hit young adult. I think it's hit pretty high on the bestseller list in young adult, just because,
Okay.
especially Operation Superglue, because the main character is a woman in her mid 30s who goes undercover as a high school student. So it's really fun because you're seeing a lot from a high school student's point of view too.
Yeah.
And in Operation Cactus Blossom, half the story is told by a character who is 16 when the book starts. So there is a little bit of something for everybody. My first series, I have a lot of young adult readers, but I have a lot of readers in their 50s and 60s,
Mm-hmm.
even older, like 70s, 80s, I believe maybe even 90. I've gotten so much feedback on that. But the newer series, the Prickly Pen Investigation series, I
Mm-hmm.
would say the target audience for that series would be women between the age of like 30 and 60, but it's enjoyable. My friend that I'm collaborating with for the private investigation piece, he loves them. My dad reads them. So it's my father-in-law is one of my biggest fans. So,
So you talked to us about, the process. And first you got an agent, then you the agent got you to a traditional publisher, and then you had some collaboration and some pros and cons there, where they're, you know, they have control over what the final product is going to look like. And
Yes.
that's kind of helpful because it gave you a different perspective to look at your work. But so share with us the pros and the cons of working with traditional publisher.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest one that comes to mind for a pro would be, as an independent publisher, I was formatting the books as
Mm-hmm.
well as writing them. So I would still send out my manuscript and get them edited professionally. Anybody who is looking to write and publish a book, I would not recommend publishing without a professional editor. I know there's a lot
Woohoo!
of controversy about that.
No, you need it 100%. Yes.
Even with that, there's
Yeah.
still mistakes. There will always be mistakes. I've had, I think 5 rounds of editing on Operation Superglue, and after it was published, my sister-in-law found something.
So that was the professional, the
Mhm.
traditional one? Oh,
Uh-huh.
wow.
So there will, I feel like, we only see so much. We're humans, and things get biased, especially when you get into the book. And I
Yeah.
found that, not to get off track, but the editors will say that. They'll say, I missed this because I was sucked in. It's like, well, that's a compliment. So having to format the book
Mm-hmm.
with the software I purchased, that's something that was very time consuming for me. And now
Yeah.
the publisher does that. Also, I feel I do like working with people. When I was independently publishing, it was just me and my laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a team of people. And it is nice. One of the publishers, his wife, Erica, is amazing. And she talked me off the ledge when I had to delete that scene. She actually she advocated for me a little bit. She's like, but we're marketing it as romance. So it was nice. You're not on an island.
Yeah, you have support. That's
You have
beautiful.
support.
Mm-hmm.
A pro to independent publishing over traditional publishing, you have complete access to your book
Mm-hmm.
sales. So I can go on Amazon KDP for my Noble Light series, and I can see how many books I sold, what's coming in, what are the royalties, but I don't have access to that with my publisher. He
Okay.
can't share the KDP account with me. So I can only go by my quarterly statements
Mm-hmm.
and my bestseller ranking. So that was
Okay,
hard.
so
That was very hard at first.
okay, because you're so used to going in and let me get into the dashboard and let me check, and now you have to wait quarter. But KDP, you still get you still have to wait quarterly for their report, right?
No, my publisher has access all the time to KDP, but I think if I understand him correctly, they have all of their authors in one KDP
Oh,
account, so
account.
they can't
Okay,
share that
they
with
can't
me.
share that with you.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a lot of learning either
Yeah.
way. You need to have an open mind, and you have to be ready to problem solve and talk to people in the business. We have a friend of the family who's she's a published author, and she walked me through it. She said, this is the software you need. This is who can help you talk through your cover. And I've done that for people now as well. It's really just about talking to people. I would say that the fantasy of getting a publisher and having it change your life is a
It's a
fantasy.
fantasy.
It's a fun fantasy. Like when I got the publisher, that was a great day. And it
Yes.
felt like, oh, I did it. But then you realize I'm still doing my own PR.
Yeah.
I'm still doing my own marketing.
I tell people that all the time. Once it's your project, it's your responsibility to promote it, whether you have a traditional publisher or you have a hybrid publisher or you're doing it yourself. You're the one. No one's coming to save you. You're going to have to
There's
promote
no
your book.
easy way. There's no easy road. It's, and even still, like
Yes.
I found myself, I've spent money on things that have been beneficial, and I've spent
Mhm.
money on things that have not. So you just have to trust the process and put yourself out there, and
Yeah.
then be able to accept feedback.
Oh, yes. That is key when you are putting your work out there, because you want to put your best work, the most excellent piece of work out there. So if you're taking things personal and you're afraid to get feedback and you feel like people are against you and you feel like, you know, people just don't want to see you succeed. No. People want to see you succeed, but you got to put your best work out there and you have to not be afraid of getting feedback.
Yes, and you have to own it,
Yeah.
right? You have to know, if you know that the story that you wrote is a good story,
Yeah.
those insecurities won't be there.
Yeah.
And that's where I've landed with it. When I first started writing, I was very sensitive, and I didn't have my best friend was like, these reviews are not negative. These reviews are 4 or 5 stars, but I would pick the reviews apart and I would take them seriously. And she'd say,
They're just
okay,
reviews.
they're just reviews. She goes, so she's like, you're going to stop reading reviews, because I was writing the third book and
Wow.
I got
No,
sad.
one of the
She's like, I'm going to read the reviews for you. And I was like, okay. So that helped.
consistently say about your work is that it feels both comforting and empowering at the same time. That
Yes.
is rare combination. And do you think is or what do you think is about your storytelling that creates that feeling of comfort and empowerment?
I mean, I could be the cheesiest Hallmark writer if I wanted to be. I'm very sentimental. I have a side to myself that's very much soulmates and love and romance and Disney princesses and everybody lives happily ever after. But I also have a side of me that wants to tell these stories that have these plot twists, and there's a dark side to them. And I think why it's working is because I'm being authentic about it. Um, when I first started writing, I was only writing about soulmates and
Mhm.
everybody living happily ever after. And this time, I not only had to write a story about a husband and wife who were together and then they were divorced, and now they have to work together in close proximity and build their relationship back
Ooh.
up, and go from there. And I was just kind of like, how am I going to do this? And I said, the only way this is going to work is if I can get past the sunshine and rainbows of it all and be real. Marriage is hard. Relationships are hard, and they're powerful and meaningful, and when you experience them, you're living, and with that comes hurt, but you're still living. And I think by acknowledging the fact that everything isn't always perfect and happy and forgiveness is important helped tell this story.
But you were still able to deliver humor, with the message and the theme of love and family and forgiveness and resilience. I
Yes.
find that you were still able to deliver some humor. How do you find and hold that balance?
I've become very in tune with my characters, and
Hmm.
this was the first time in my career that I have written a sequel that is actually part two of a book, instead of writing standalone stories. And it was uncomfortable at first. And I think that's why I overcompensated on the romance scenes in the second book, because it was the first time I had to write love that wasn't new love.
Mm.
And because I've learned through this process that character development is so important. Before I sit down to write anything, each character has its own biography.
Good.
So I'm
Yes.
writing through the lens of them, and
Yes.
I become them. And I think that I kind of help them navigate this world through humor.
Yes.
And there's a few characters in the story, Riker being the protagonist's best friend. He's in a relationship with a man and they just broke up. So he's going through all of this while she's trying to figure out how to navigate life with her ex, but they're best friends, and their banter is just very easy to write. And he's so witty that at one point he goes, I hate him more than I hate Crocs with socks. And it's so punchy.
Yes.
And I look at the screen and I go, that's funny.
Say, I'm a funny girl. Let's talk about the sense of place, because whether it's like the rugged coastlines that we talked about, or, in Maine from the book, the New Blue Light series, or the vast Arizona desert in Prickly Pens, your settings feel so alive.
Thank you.
They almost feel like the settings feel like characters themselves.
I love that you said that. Yeah.
How do you bring a place to life on the page?
Well, for the Noble Light series, the cottage, the Anderson cottage, that's one. The cottage is in each book, and you see different families living in the cottage in different periods of time. So that just sort of happened organically. And it does, the Anderson cottage does feel like a character, and same thing with the beaches in Maine. For that series, I believe it's because that place is so special to me. And you go to any beach, right? And it's like, for me, it's just instant creativity. So I think for that, it happened because of my love for the area and the beach, and just thinking of the different stories that could be told in one cottage that has 3 stories, with sort of the same people renting it year after year. As far as Arizona goes, I think it was just my personal experience again, my journey out there to help my family member, and what I learned about myself through that. And, just the choice to embrace this experience and do something positive with it in my life, instead of just kind of saying this was a negative experience and sitting in it. I think it's passion. It's being passionate about the locations that you're writing about. And I think that the more I travel and the more I see of our country, and just, just life experience, I'm able to say, this is a special place. It doesn't sort of happen. I don't say I need a place for this to happen. The place sort of generates the idea.
What can readers expect from your book? That's this book. What can readers expect? Because it's a series, but each one is so different. What can they expect from this new one?
From the Prickly Pen investigation series.
I thought the next one was Operation Superglue.
Yeah, so Operation Superglue is book 1.
Okay.
And then Operation Cactus Blossom is the second book.
Okay.
And then I'm working on the third book in the series. It's Operation Desert Blues. And that story is about a missing country artist who goes missing in Arizona. And of course, it's intertwined with the plot of John and Lena, private investigators. So there's still, they can expect the same humor and witty characters, the same cheesy lessons that we learn in life, whether it's follow your heart, you're stronger than you think. I'm always putting those in there. Operation Superglue, it was never give up, even in the stickiest situations. And then for Operation Cactus Blossom, you are stronger than you think. So, I mean, you'll still get all of that, the family, the values, the forgiveness, second chances, close proximity, but you'll also have the plot twists. And that's really what I've become known for, is my plot twists.
Oh my goodness. That's what we love.
Yeah, me too. And, just like the other books, they're people read them, they don't want to put them down. There's not a lot of narrative. There's no purple prose or anything like that. I write my stories like I'm almost writing a movie. Like,
yeah,
this scene. The action drives it forward. It's suspenseful. There's some controversial topics in there that, we've dealt with in the world, but they're true.
Yeah.
Mental health, mental illness, addiction. It's all woven in there, but it's told in a way that your heart is protected as you read. You can trust me.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier that you are the client or the marketing. You do marketing for your family's business?
I do. I'm the director of client education and marketing for an estate planning law firm.
Yeah. So how are you running a career, building a brand, writing series, lovely, fiction, and then doing all of this at the same time? It's such high level. What does it take to be you?
It starts with a big calendar. No, just kidding. I do have one of those. And I've been a writer. I've done it while working full time. I've done it without working full time. I've done it with my kids being little, and I've done it with teenagers. I think the biggest takeaway is it can't, your drive and your dedication and your execution can't be based on your circumstance. And that's something that I'm just taking away with me very recently. You can't say, oh, I had a bad day, I can't meet this deadline. Or I had a fight with my husband, now I'm not going to write chapter 3. Like, you really have to just guard your feelings.
Yeah.
I think the feelings are important, and I need to save them for when I sit down to write. And I've done it. I was really disciplined before I started working full time. I would go to Starbucks and I would write at Starbucks for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I would say between this hour and this hour, I can't be interrupted. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That means asking people for help, especially before my kids were driving. I mean, when I was writing one of the books, I had a deadline that I made for myself, but both my kids were in a summer camp. I hired somebody to drive them.
Yeah.
And it was a friend of the family who needed work. And so I thought, you know what, if I could hire a babysitter, I can hire a friend.
A driver. Yeah.
Right. Because the camp was 35 minutes from my house. So 35 minutes there, 35 minutes back, 35 minutes there, 35 minutes back. And then there goes the day.
Yeah.
So I think being able to ask for help, be very organized, be disciplined, and just keep pushing forward, even when it feels like you're too tired. Because without that grit, it doesn't get done.
That's really great. It's really a great tip for aspiring authors, because it's a lot of authors who are listening. They see the glory of the public, the publication of the book, but then they don't see the sacrifices that you make. And I believe that's a really great advice to say, you may need to get help. You may need to hire some help, because the minute you start cutting into your day, there goes the day.
There goes the day. And it's very easy for the day to go away.
Yeah.
Depending on, your mindset. And there have been some days, like, I'd get a migraine and I'd be like, well, I'm not writing today. Like, you have to have your, your moments of this is too much. But I've sat at track meets with my laptop.
Yeah.
And then I stop writing when the kids run. Yeah, I've written just about anywhere. So
beautiful. Yeah. Where can we get your book?
So I have a website. It's stacyleeauthor.com, and that's STACYLEE author.com. And on that website, you'll see links to Amazon, all of the major platforms. They're in paperback, and they're in ebooks and audiobooks as well.
What if we wanted to get a signed copy?
So if you would like a signed copy, I could send one out personally.
Oh, so we can get that on your website? Like, is there a place on your
No,
website?
but if anybody wanted a signed copy, they could find me on Instagram. So I'm on
Oh, okay.
Instagram. I'm Stacy Lee author. Same with Facebook. I've had readers message me on both platforms and say, "Oh, one reader, this was great. She said her mother was, I think, in her 80s, and she had her hip replaced, and she
Mhm.
was like, my mom listened to all of your books
Oh,
online, and she's your biggest fan, and I would love to um, get her a signed copy." And I mailed all 7
oh, wow.
because that's why I want to do this.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of being able to provide an escape for people.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There are 3 questions that I like to ask my guests. So before you leave, you're not going to get away. What is one bold move that you can share with the audience? Not a bold move yet. We're going to share the bold move for last. But what's a bold promise that you can make to the audience?
A bold promise that I can make to the audience about the stories that I tell
Mm-hmm.
is that I will always stay true to my characters. I would never do anything in my stories, um, in terms of the plot and my character development, that would be for any reason other than because that feels true in my heart.
And what's a bold statement that you can share with the audience that may cause a paradigm shift?
So I would say when I made the decision to take that very challenging experience that I had out in Arizona, after coping and processing that, it's like that Robert Frost poem with the 2 roads, right? You can downward spiral, or you can say, how am I going to use this experience to benefit myself and other people? And for me, it was the storyline that came out of the Prickly Pen investigation series, along with some friendships that I made along the way. Ryan Lewis is the private investigator who I hired. And now we're friends and we're collaborating on this series. So I think it's just because of those moves, and embracing life and the ebbs and flows of it, good can come out of it. And I'd like to eventually use my Prickly Pen investigation series to help support mental health awareness.
Thank you so much. What is one bold move that you would like to make in the future?
I would like to turn the Prickly Pen investigation series into a Netflix TV series.
Ooh, that's bold.
And
And it's
I'm
happening.
working on it. Yeah.
It's happening. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for you.
It's
Please come
happening.
back. When that does happen, you just come back and say,
Okay.
okay, it's this is when it's good. Yes, come back for promotion.
Okay.
If you had to describe your book in one sentence to someone who's never read it before, what would that sentence be?
For Operation Superglue,
Uh-huh.
it's a ride. It's a roller
It's
coaster
a
ride.
ride.
It's a
Yeah.
ride. It's a roller coaster ride. There's ups and downs, and it's real. It's real, but it's it's real, but it's worth it in the sense that it comes together in a way that your heart still feels happy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
Stacy Lee, thank you so much for joining us on the Bold Book of the Day podcast today. Your work is just a powerful reminder that great storytelling can make us laugh, make us think, make us feel, and make us believe in the power of love. And also believe in resilience, and second chances. So
Mhm.
thank you so much for coming and sharing that. Operation Superglue and Operation Cactus Blossom, they
Yes.
are available now, and I want you to support our author, okay? So you can connect with Stacy on social media at Stacy Lee Author. I believe that was your Instagram.
Mhm.
And well, you go ahead and tell them where they can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram, Stacy Lee author, same with Facebook, and TikTok. We're on all three of those platforms. And then also, if they want to message me, I love to hear. I love to hear from my readers. If they're in the New England area, I do the summer. I do book signings. York, Maine is where the books are set. And there's a new romance bookstore in Boston, Love Struck Books. I've done signings there. So I will be around the summer signing, and I'd love to connect with my readers.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming up and sharing. This is an incredible work, guys. And so you are a bold author,
Thank
Stacy,
you.
and we celebrate you and your incredible work today. Keep writing, keep shining, and keep young. Guys, this woman looked like she is in her teens, okay?
Oh man, thank you.
I guess you do love writing and it does you well. It does well for
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Thanks again. And please come back when you have your next book.
I appreciate that. It was so great talking with you.
Thank you. It was great for me too. We have a goal of getting 1,000 subscribers, and we have a few ways to go. So please subscribe and share with your friends. If you have an idea of writing a book and you're feeling overwhelmed or you just don't know where to start, please send us an email at authordnicholson@gmail.com. We help you get your book idea out of your head and onto paper.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.